have a sip during it. We'd have to have a sip during it, eh, if we had to.
Let's see. Okay. Get this started. Okay. Let's make sure. All right. Hi, how's it going?
Good, how are you?
Good, good. Hello, everybody that has joined us for the webinar, our first Event Technology Week. Super excited about it. And I want to say good morning, good afternoon from whichever time zone you may be dialing in from. That'd be great. Let me just find my cursor here. All right, while I find my cursor, a couple of housekeeping notes here that we need to look at. Please feel free to ask us for any questions that may come up as we go through the presentation. If you're familiar with Zoom, you'll see there's an Ask a Question in the audience participation area. Please enter your questions there as we go through the seminar today, and we'll be answering as we go through or catching it up at the end of the session as well. All right, so what I'm really excited is for this week with Event Technology Week, we've broken it down into 5 segments, and we'll be going through some of the segments throughout the week. The first segment that we're going to be focusing on today, which was covered by myself and Jennifer here, is finding the best event technology solution for your event. And then what we'll be doing on day 2 is we'll be having Ken. However, Ken is going through a personal emergency, so we will be covering that ourselves. What we will be talking about is data integrations and how integrations can transform your event from start to finish. So that'll be great.
And then on day 3, on the 27th of March at noon, how member connectivity drives growth, retention, and exhibitor happiness, presented by Michael Barnett, CEO of Ingo. And then on day 4, March 28th at 12 noon, achieving your room block goals while maximizing its performance, presented by Adam Briggs, Senior VP Operations with Conference Direct. And then our last day to wrap things up on day 5, March 29th at 12 noon, on-site data analysis presented by Patrick Blattner, co-founder, the Indoor Lab.
Thank you, Jen. All right, so the first thing is we want to dive in. Oh, actually, my apologies. This is Jennifer Beatty from Resiata, and myself, I am Dharmesh Dabai from StreamPoint Solutions as well. Mind my manners. All right, the first thing we want to do is we're going to dive right in, and what we are going to be covering is finding the best event technology for your event. And we have a lot to cover, so I'm just going to get right into it. So if you have questions, please feel free to enter it into the question panel as well. Okay, so the first thing is understanding the current state of event technology. There's a lot of things happening right now where there's a lot of interest from VCs and fund managers within our industry. There has been a lot of focus on the event technology side, maybe from mobile apps to user engagement platforms and whatnot. Case in point, just recently, congratulations to Jay from Core Apps, got acquired with Community Brands. So that's really great, really big news. And there's stuff happening pretty much on a weekly basis, but that is the latest and the greatest. A couple of things to highlight is initially we had a huge influx of investments within the event registration world, and then it went into the mobile application side of things. From there into the engagement tools, such as, what was the app called?
Clowder.
Clowder, that's right. Clowder, really great app. I think what I like about it is it has a 365 day.
Yeah, and 365 communication, as well as it's a, the engagement side of it. They were saying that's the biggest piece of it, is the engagement side, keeping it going for 365 days.
Yeah, that was pretty cool.
Yeah.
And now what we're looking at is AI, VR, AR, a lot of acronyms being shot out there, and obviously data. So that's going to be really fantastic. And we're going to be covering a lot of this today as well. So here we go. We're going to be looking at the top event technology considerations for 2019. The first focus is on data, AI, VR, and AR. We find that clients and attendees are more and more sophisticated these days and also do not have a lot of time on their hands. There's so much going on.
Yeah.
They also want to deliver and have less time. So this actually leads us to using technology to satisfy this cause a lot better. So we want to make sure the technology that's there is being used is the right technology, because there's just so much out there right now. It's pretty well. Anyhow, so Jen?
This is why we believe the focus on data, AI, VR, and AR is where we are moving towards, and it is in demand.
All right, so the first thing I want to talk about is AI, artificial intelligence. AI now in the real world solution technology is being researched to allow computers to be smarter and have more of a human ability. And we're not there yet. It's not there yet, but it's trending to that. But I also believe there's other assets of AI that are very important for us. So within the event industry, I see us using AI more of a data insight solution. So that's very important. And AI can really help clients be more productive. I think that's what the takeaway should be right now. The other thing is also being able to take this analytics and provide better insight on the event and also actions that can be taken right after that. So that's really where it should be taken into.
For this case, we can imagine a scenario where we get Slack message from our housing platform to say, by the way, you are now 80% of your block, your attrition fee at the hotel A, and we have now automatically put priority on hotel B.
That's pretty cool.
That is cool. This is using workflow to accomplish this. Now, if the case was that there was an AI switch you can hit, then everything is taken care of. That is real AI.
Yeah.
Artificial intelligence at its finest.
So now imagine your hotel room is just taken care of automatically. That'd be great.
Yeah.
Now, the next thing I do want to show you is really cool. I want to show you how Airbnb is using machine learning, which is another terminology used for AI learning. And this video will show you an idea of how they're enhancing their workflow or well, their AI. Here we go.
Looks good.
Okay.
There's no volume.
All right, let me take a look at this volume situation here and I'll circle back on it. I will be sharing this presentation post-event as well, so that'll help the volume. I apologize. Thank you for that. Can you guys hear us though? If you can, please just say so in the chat. It'd be helpful. Great, excellent.
Perfect.
Thank you very much. Okay, the next thing we can talk about is the AR experience. Before we do that, what that video covered was the idea of how Airbnb is using machine learning to take all the images, because you can imagine how many images are being submitted to say, hey, this is my living room, this is my bedroom, this is my bathroom. Some people would automatically say, this is my living room, but label it as their bathroom. So that's a problem. Anyhow, so what this machine learning does is automatically helps categorize everything for them. And it matches it all up magically, which is amazing. And then what they're also working on now is looking at different objects within the room to say, hey, here is this object. This object would represent an amenity, and that would automatically be listed onto the website as well.
Nice.
Really cool stuff. Anyways, the video will be great. I'll send out the presentation as a resource, so you'll be able to see that link as well. All right, so the next thing is the AR experience. The AR stands for augmented reality, not to be mistaken with VR.
So VR is like those glasses that you could put on and pretend you're walking off a plank and then jump into the free air. But it's not really happening, but it plays with you. Very
I had a really cool VR experience actually at the airport. Put it on, I had the shark attacking me. Kind of freaked me out.
Sounds fun.
But yeah, it was a little too much. Anyhow, so AR is actually adding an element within your current environment. So when you take an iPad or a phone, and then this pop can like start coming to life, or so to speak.
Right.
So that's the difference. So there's a video here, which obviously there's no sound coming through, but the context of this video is that Wembley Stadium is using AR to create an interactive tour, essentially.
Oh, okay.
So you like soccer.
I love soccer.
So this actually takes a video of the soccer field and then shows different items that are happening, different team, different players. If you put it up to a jersey, for example, it's going to bring that jersey to life for you.
So it almost is like a fact finder as well.
Yeah, exactly. And it'll give you all the player stats and whatnot.
Okay.
So pretty cool stuff. I'll share this with you after as well.
Excellent.
Apologize on that bit audio again. So now how can we apply that to our environment? I would totally see it as maybe an exhibitor. Imagine there's a booth, you bring this app. So a lot of these app companies now that we have in our industry are implementing AR within their application.
Yeah.
And what it helps it with is, there's actually a squirrel outside, that's so weird. What this actually helps with is creating a more come to life experience within the booth.
Which would increase engagement.
Increase engagement, but also have more information there.
Excellent.
For that. So for medical shows, for example, let's say if there was a drug that they want to showcase, they can bring the app into focus, and then they can have more statistics on the drug as well.
Oh, that's excellent.
So it helps provide more information as well.
Okay.
All right.
Oh, we have a question coming in.
Yeah, actually, that's a very great thought. There's actually a winery that's using this AR experience. Have you seen this bottles of wine?
Where the image comes to life on the front. Excellent.
I'll put a link on that one. That one's a really, really, really fun one.
Great
actually.
Way to market.
I love it. Okay, this is my favorite topic, data analysis. I'm a big data nerd, so here we go. So with data analysis, a lot of different things are happening in there. I find a lot of our clients are getting more sophisticated as well with data, and that's important. Clients want to do more with the data, but what can you do with the data? Where do you start? I think that's the problem. So I always recommend start backwards. Like, what do you want to achieve from an event? What are your goals that you're looking at? And then go backwards from that point and then start looking at where the data is coming in. So for example, if you wanted to figure out the best case of placement of meals,
Okay.
right? So you can look at that as a thing you want to tackle on your show floor, then work backwards. What kind of technology do you need to implement to see how people are moving through the show floor? Why are they moving in certain areas?
So is it going to show what's more successful on a trade show floor?
Yeah, exactly. And actually on Friday, Indoor Lab Patrick is going to be talking a lot about data analysis, live data analysis on the show floor.
Because isn't data like the key to so much?
It's key to everything.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyhow, so as a standard right now, clients already have access to data such as registration types, events, demographics, and whatnot. But with technology and services that are there now should enable the client to do more with it. And that is actionable data. Okay. So predictive actions, things like that. So let's take a case such as this right now. So for example, you're looking at summarization of data that can be overlapped from one year to the other. Great. So now we've taken it step from taking the data, putting it together, and now looking at a trend. Part of the trend you can look at is, say, last year you did email marketing 7 days out, and that created an influx of registration for, say.
Okay.
So then this year, maybe try it on 7 days out, and it was a Tuesday. So Tuesday in the marketing world is more successful at 10 a.m. to send out email marketing than on a Monday or a Friday. Because people are either working too hard to get caught up on Monday, or Friday it's like weekend time.
So it's allowing you to make better business decisions.
Absolutely.
Okay.
So that's what's important. So this is just a small example of like how to use the best case of when to send out an email. Now, let's say within our system, we can actually now track to see when people are opening their emails, right? So Jen, I assume you probably have like Tuesdays at 2 p.m. you check your emails. I don't know, hypothetically speaking, okay?
I check them all the time.
I know you do, but I'm just saying that's probably the most point you would check something, let's say. So we can track that in our system. So now imagine through the system when we send out an email marketing campaign using some of this technology, we can say Jen has an average date and time of opening her emails at this point. So why not deliver her the content during this point in time rather than
better luck to be able for me to open and read it.
Right.
That makes sense.
Exactly. So we can do that stuff with data as well. So that's just an example of what we can do. All right.
Perfect.
Yeah. Whew, a lot of data stuff here. So this is one of my favorite things as well, is asking questions before the session starts. Like, Jen, you speak a lot, at conferences?
I do.
Yeah. So how many times do you wish that you were able to know who's your audience that's coming and is the content in alignment with what your audience is looking for?
Well, if I had questions in advance, I'd be able to tailor my education or what have you to exactly what they're looking for. Right. So it's more relevant to them and I might get more engagement from it.
So now imagine through the registration process, when you're selecting your sessions, there's one says, by Dharmesh on Data Insight.
Yeah.
And you're like, ooh, I got some questions for him. And you can submit a question right there and then.
In advance.
That
to me is the most effective way to actually get the content you're looking for also out of attending a session.
Yeah.
So when you're planning in advance, that if you can build off and get some questions in there, then you really know where you want to go. And
there you go.
That's great.
So we do that actually.
Okay.
But it's a little plug. Have to do it. But that's the point, is trying to get some of this information beforehand to make actionable decisions. Okay, so now I know some of our clients and folks that are there at the on the session right now are very hands-on. So for the folks who are totally hands-on, there are some solutions out there that you can take other data sources together and overlay it with what you want to do for your own analytics. In some cases, solutions like us will work with clients to provide that kind of data, but then in other cases, maybe in your own world with all the other data points that you're getting, you want to do that. So there's a free resource called Google Data Studio. So that can take an Excel file, that can take data from your marketing engine and just do some magic, and you can do that. The other paid solutions, which I personally like, is Domo, because it does allow you to do a lot of cool things with data. You can do some charts, Not that you can't do a Google Data Studio. I just find with Domo, it's a lot easier to use.
So Domo would give you a better way of reporting that data?
Yeah, in your own world. So you can
Okay.
actually take all the data from different things like accounting or, MailChimp or whatever, and then just mash it all
into
together.
one.
Like, just push it. Yeah, exactly. Anyways, I put some link in the additional resources for that as well. All right, automation.
Oh, this is
Lots
deep.
of stuff. So with automation, we believe, again, being on the theme of clients are busy, people are busy, there's not enough time, but you gotta do a lot of stuff. Automation can help simplify a lot of these processes for you. And there's some great tools out there like Zapier. Zapier actually integrates with all these different things that we use on the internet.
Yeah.
And you can connect them all together and do things with it.
Okay.
There's another website called Ifty, if then else if or something. What it does, it allows you to create workflow logic to say, if this happens, do that. If that happens, do this. So
kind of watching your back.
Yeah. And then HubSpot and Zoho. So those are more marketing CRM solutions that allow for that to happen. So that enables more of that workflow automation, so solution side of things. Okay. Thank you for that note. It says that our video is frozen. Let me take a look at this. I apologize. All right.
And then go back on.
Go back on.
Well, it's okay. It's not like our faces are
entertaining
enough.
As long as you can hear us, we'll make sure that the audio is there and you can see the screen share. Okay, with the workflow automation, you can then imagine in a scenario where you can actually have a automated process to say, if this person registers, then X days after they registered, they get a welcome email. So, or in a normal case, it would be like immediately you would want to get a welcome email. Or then it could be 15 days before the event, they register, they get a reminder email, right? So that's important. Now for folks, I mean, I'm guilty of this. I don't print my confirmations out and it gets lost in my email. I know you do. But I would like the latter to say one day before the conference happens, I get an email. So the whole idea is it's set up and I forget it. It's just automatically being taken care of. Now, this is a scenario where it's a simplified scenario. This is kind of out of box for all the solution companies out there, so that's fine.
Okay.
But now imagine, this would be great. Imagine you have a VIP that goes to the registration desk, checks in, and then the admin team gets a Slack message on their group chat to say, Jennifer Beatty has now checked in. Right? So now I can run to you and say, Jen, I saw you, so we can do stuff like that. So that's very important as well. Okay, continuing on here, the next thing we have is chatbots. I apologize, there's so much going on here today.
I know.
All right, so chatbots are great for events. With our implementation of chatbots with our own clients, we've seen a reduction of call center support on our end, and it's also increased efficiency in response times and to commonly asked questions. The thing to note about chatbots is they're still based on a question and answer logic. So essentially, you still have to predictively assume, like, what is the top 10 questions people asked last year?
Where's the plenary session?
Things like that.
Yeah.
Exactly. Or where's the bathroom? Or, when does the keynote? Who are the keynotes? Things like that. So that kind of stuff is important to put into the chatbot solution. The other thing that you have to keep in mind is the chatbots, you want to have a monitor on the chatbot. So for questions that it can't answer that get put into the call center or the support team, seeing if there's a frequency of those questions that come up and adding those back into the chatbot application. Okay. Then you know that, hey, I got 10 people asking this question. Let me just make it into the thing.
It's almost like seeing a hole and answering it later on a regular,
Exactly. So a lot of people and a lot of companies will say, oh, I got AI on my chatbot. Well, there is some sort of AI on it. It's more for natural language processing. So the idea is that how many times can you ask a different question to get the same answer? So the AI or machine language or natural language learning will look at it saying, hey, I want to go to the bathroom, or where's the bathroom, or bathroom where, or whatever. It'll know that taking all those words will give you an answer that makes sense. So that's kind of important as well. Okay. Another example could be, for example, with a chatbot, you can get real-time insights as well. So that's very important. It can help resolve any recurring problems that may be happening as well. Because if someone's asking those same questions over and over again in a chatbot,
it's like the hole.
You can fill that hole. Yes, exactly. Okay. And Jen?
Yeah, chatbots can go live on your website, your mobile app, or event used as SMS through your events. So think about it, SMS, everyone can use it.
Yeah, absolutely. So like you don't have to learn something new, right? You don't have to install an app. You don't have to go to a website. It's just what you know. Right. And I think that's an important point because with that, we're already using the technology the way I know it and the way you know it. So if there's a chatbot interacting with me as a text, I'm pretty much.
And I think you'd get a higher response rate as well because so many people respond to their texts quickly.
98%.
That's huge.
That's massive. So that's something to keep in mind. And we have a great partner solution for that. That really makes it easy. And they're EventBots by Cienzio. So they offer this kind of solution that helps work through the SMS technology for chatbots as well. But they don't just do SMS, they do all the other stuff as well. So that's important. Okay, so the next thing we want to talk about is user journeys. The journey of my life. No, I'm kidding. All right, so the important thing here is to look at the user journey and how this user has interacted with your event over time. This journey can also be outlined for the attendee to see how they have also interacted with your event. So that's very important. From your perspective, you need to outline various touch points to outline a journey. So you may be asking, what are these touch points? All right, so touch points can be outlined as the following. You have awareness, engagement, experience, and post-event. So when we look at the category of awareness, what is the first thing you would do to attend an event? Like where would you see the possibility of that event? Twitter, exactly. So social media, or maybe there's a banner ad or something. Now, as a marketeer myself, and for speaking for some of our clients, a big case could be is how much am I spending for those dollars to retain to a value of a registration or whatever may be my solution. So solutions like Google Analytics definitely help that solution through, where you can tie in to say, hey, this banner ad equated to this many registration dollars. So that's really awesome. The next thing is engagement. So as soon as you click on banner ad, you go to a website. Right, the event website. And then from there, you can do your registration, you do your reservation for your hotel, you can do your check-in on site. So that's all the engagement touch point. You can talk to your trade show folks, whatever, you're still creating engagement. So once the engagement is completed, the next thing you want to measure and have a touch point on is the experience. So interactions related to attendee to attendee. So there's some really, really cool solutions. And I know Patrick's going to be covering that on Friday to say, hey, I talked to you for over 2 minutes. So that qualifies as an engagement without me doing anything, which is really cool. That's kind of magic. And the other aspect of it could be attendee to exhibitor engagement. So that's another point. Or it could be attendees in sessions. So how long did an attendee spend time in a session? Were they engaged enough to complete the entire session? So that's the duration. And then the other thing could also be wait times and registration. So we always want to see like, what is that dwell time that someone has actually spent at the registration counter? So that's kind of important. And with integrations, this can be tied more and more engagement solutions, so signages and devices. Just the other day, we're talking about, imagine that I can walk down a conference hall because I have my beacon on me and the signage is set up that it would show me information that's relevant to me. So when I registered in my demographics, I said, I'm interested in registration services, housing, and whatever. And because I've engaged with my exhibitor to sell them a sponsorship now, because now I'm making revenue as a client, to say, hey, if every time someone walks by this, they're going to see your ad. So you walk by and you see your ad. So that's kind of cool. All right.
All right. So by understanding the user journey, you have a complete picture on how the attendee got to your event, how they are influencing the event, and what is the ROI from this attendee. From an exhibitor perspective, you are delivering the right audience to them, and from an event producer's point of view, you are now also getting better insight on how and why people are interacting with your events. Be sure to sign up for this Friday session with Indoor Labs. They have a lot of data to share on the on-site data collection and the analytics for your event.
Excellent. Yeah, they're really great guys. Love working with them. The other thing is also the attendee. They want to be in control of their data, especially with GDPR and whatnot. It's very important. So the idea of you and I meeting doesn't mean I want to give you my data, because Jen, I'm just kidding. But like hypothetically speaking, right?
Yes.
So then I can actually now see that, hey, Jen actually has my data through this, or I am allowing Jen to get my data. So that's something to consider. And it's something important to keep in mind when you are looking at these integrations and these different tools of where all this data is situated within which platform. Because me at my stage, I would like to know, hey, my data is being used in IMUS, for example, and then it's being used in Indoor Labs to do this. So you can see a full data map of where Dharmesh's data is, so to speak. The other thing is attendees being in control also want to be able to connect with others during the conference. So this is also the latter, like making it easier for people to connect. And this can be done through mobile apps, portals, social media, and etc. Actually, Ingo on Wednesday has a really cool session on this. They're going to talk about audience engagement.
Okay.
So
that's a real hot topic for a lot of planners.
Yeah, you're hearing that a lot?
Yes.
Oh, great. Excellent. Okay, so let's talk a little bit about GDPR while we're on the topic of this. Users and attendees are also very mindful of this security. So we talked about that a little bit. Okay. The bigger thing is to make sure that we are in compliance with the GDPR, or anybody actually. And the solutions that are there have to be mindful that people can request that data at any time. I know it's an EU thing and European thing, but it is going to be a global thing soon. So that's important to keep in mind.
So it's good to be knowledgeable about it.
Yeah, exactly. Okay. The other thing is also facial recognition. So
like the iPhone 10, I look at it, it turns on, it recognizes my face.
Exactly. So with facial recognition, this is a big thing now. There are a few companies out there that are providing this service. The whole concept with facial rec is, I come to the registration desk, it knows who I am, and it prints my badge. So that's one way to do it. Another way could be as an experience. You're all about experience, attendee experience.
Big time.
So yeah. Imagine that I walk into a VIP booth, and then there's a screen that says, oh, this is Jen Beatty, sorry. This is Jennifer Beatty, and I have all your stuff ready. So by the time I come back, it's like, hey, Jennifer, welcome to the VIP booth. We have your badge already here, ready to go. Like that just makes
Those are the things that resonate with you and you don't forget.
Yeah, exactly. And also speeds up the process, but it's a very high touch process as well. Okay. The next thing here is business and leisure travel. Jen, this is all about you.
Okay, this is a great topic. How is this sector of the industry changing when it comes to business and leisure travel, otherwise known as our pre and post? Sometimes the best kept information is the information you didn't know was available or even existed. When it comes to conferences and the important data needed for planners, the pace of the bookings and the pickup always seems to be the most important part of it. But what about after the cutoff is done in your block? That information is key when it comes to booking future business with a hotel or hotel chains and or the destination. Envision a conference in a location like Orlando, which I just came back from last week. You mull it over and decide you're going to tack on a couple of days, either before or after the conference, to take in the sights with you and your family. This process should be easy and seamless for the delegate to do. It also should be easy for the planner to make it happen without taking a risk and blocking more rooms with no guarantee. No one wants to find themselves in an attrition situation. Technology has supported this to ensure through integration via webhook or through a full API by tapping into the GDS to see all available rooms in the city. This takes the pressure not only off the planner, it also makes it easier for the delegate to become a leisure traveler in this destination. At Resiata, we are now offering this feature to support after the cutoff and capture how many of the delegates either book after the block, but also how many stay in the city to take in the sites.
That's pretty cool.
It is. And why is this information so important? Because this type of information is invaluable to a planner for future negotiations and planning, including future destinations they might consider.
Oh.
Now,
could this actually help with like the economic impact too?
Oh, absolutely.
Oh, cool.
Absolutely. Now, let's consider the international traveler for a conference. A lot of international conferences do not do room blocks, but leave it to the attendee, the business traveler, to fend for themselves to book accommodations. Again, integrating with the registration company to make this a seamless experience for the delegate and capture all the data as to where they are staying in the city or for how long provides the backup for the organization to be able to show the destination the accommodation revenue that has been brought to the city. Result can be a financial support to the organization from the destination for the conference. We've come a long way in this space, Dharmesh.
You know, Jen, like there's actually a conference happening in Toronto, and it's an international conference.
Collision?
Yeah. It's like 10,000 room blocks, but there is no block.
And they will say,
they're using booking.com.
Right. And what they will say is that we're bringing this many delegates to the city, which is great, but we don't know how long they're staying. And that type of information is a negotiation tool.
Yeah. Well, that's great to know. Cool. Well, I think that could all tie into influencer marketing, because once you have your event, how do you get people to show up to your conference, right?
Exactly.
So influencer marketing is a big deal because it does help you kind of understand and capture who those, I would say, speakers are for your conference or for your subject matter. The whole idea of focusing on influencer marketing is that it does create authentic content for your brand. So it allows other people to speak for you rather than you speaking for yourself. So it's like a word of mouth kind of idea.
Yeah.
And then it also helps drive traffic to your website or landing pages. Landing pages are little subset sites that you can create to push traffic to. And it also drives engagement. So now the question may be like, how do I find my influencers? Like, who are these people, right? Not to worry, there's some solutions here that we can help you with. The bigger thing that you have to look at, and this is a survey that was done with EventMB, and one of the things they found out was in our event space, a lot of people resonate with social media from Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, YouTube. So those are the top 4. Now, when we look at that, what we can use is different tools to kind of pull those influences from, which we'll get to in a second. But there's a process and a methodology that needs to be followed. First, you need to discover influencers and their key metric. So this includes what is their social media platform of choice, and does that align with people who are in your event going to those social media platforms as well? So that's important to look at. And then when you look at selecting an influencer, you need to consider the metric of followers numbers versus engagement, because you can have someone with 10,000 followers and there is no engagement. Engagement meaning they're not being friendly with the community. They're not communicating within the community that they have.
Would that be known as a creeper?
I don't know about that one. Well, maybe, yeah. It's a serious creeper situation. Anyhow, so that's something to keep in mind. Necessarily, it's not about how big the network is, but how how engaged that person is. So that's important. Once you've isolated these folks, you can also then look at to see how much of that portion are real followers, because a lot of them have fake followers. You can actually pay to have followers.
I've just learned that recently.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy. Anyhow, so that's important that you don't get duped with that. And then the other thing you can do after that is think about the alignment of the brand and how it matches these influencers. So that's something to keep in mind. And what we've done with a couple of clients that was suggested is with those influencers, you can then actually entice them to be part of the conference by giving them an influencer discount to come to the conference, or invite them as a VIP influencer of the conference if you get 4 or 5 of them, just to participate and speak to your brand and be part of your brand and own it. And I think it changes the entire tune of how they will share that message to the world for you. Yeah. So that's very, very important. And then once that's done, you reach out and you begin the collaboration plan for what this is going to look like. So that's pretty cool. Now, how do you get these folks? There's some really great tools out there. Upfluence is a great company. This allows you to look at who those influencers can be within your ecosystem. This is a paid service. These are all paid services. BuzzSumo and Julius, these are also other solutions that can help you figure out what your topic of interest are and who those influences are that align to those specific categories. So take a look at it. Again, I'll share this with you post seminar. There'll be all the resources for you to see.
Because it is a lot of information to take in today.
Yeah, absolutely. We have a lot of content, but I just want to make sure that we cover everything.
Perfect.
All right, so now the next thing is integrations. I know I was at a session 2 weeks ago at Mace, and someone had a discussion about integrations, and we're going to cover integrations more in depth tomorrow. In tomorrow's session, I will be taking over Ken's seminar.
Okay.
He's doing well, so that's good. It's just I have to step in. Anyhow, so integrations are a very important part of the event technology world. We have all our favorites. I have my favorite partners in some cases, and I also have my favorite things that I like and whatnot. And just like my clients, they have their favorite applications they like to use.
Yeah.
Now, when we have that, there's always a dilemma between, do I go with the all-in-one or do I pick a favorite application that integrates with everything? Ideally, the best case is pick the best that you have, make sure it integrates well, so then your data is consistent from start to finish, and everything leads back to the truth of data. So that could be your CRM or it could be your registration system. So that's something to keep in mind. You can't have multiple truths of data. So that's the source. And also what's great about having integrations that you can build in logic to handle a lot of the automated processes. So let's say if you want to say, hey, Jen is a board member. So board member can be driven to a different registration path, to a different block in housing, and all that different kind of stuff. So that's very important. And when we're looking at managing integrations, you're going to make sure that you have a data plan. This data plan covers the process from start to finish of how the data will go from your event website to the CRM, to marketing tools, to the on-site, to the post-event, to the reports, to give you a big story of everything that you need.
And this is going to be in our session that is we're coming up tomorrow. Right?
Tomorrow.
Okay. Just a reminder, don't forget to sign up for that session.
Yeah. Thank you. And tomorrow, actually, because Ken can't make it, I'll be talking about Freeman Fusion as well.
Excellent.
And Freeman Fusion is huge. Like they have 100 integrations with a lot of the event tech that is out there already. And before I dive too much about it, because I get super excited about it, I'm gonna stop right here.
Okay.
All right, so data insight, we've talked about this already a little bit. And then considerations is what I wanted to talk about, is considering all-in-one solutions versus specialized integrated solutions. We'll talk about that a little bit more tomorrow, but it is something to think about. There is a time and place for an all-in-one solution, but then there is also a time and place for individualized special solutions.
Can you give an example?
All-in-one, without naming names, I don't want to do that, but we can have like an event management company that does everything from registration, mobile app to
yes.
Right? Whereas a specialized integrated solution could be like us, for example, that do registration, and then Resia does housing, and then we could work with, I don't know, Core Apps that does apps, but everything just works really tight together.
Okay.
And diversity. This is a big topic that I've been hearing quite a bit within the conference world, and tying technology into diversity doesn't make sense, but it makes a lot of sense, is knowing that who your audience type is that's coming to the conference, and then making sure that the event is driven to encourage diversity within the space. Because we are in a global world with different cultures and different personalities and whatnot.
Yeah.
So everything needs to kind of gel and be cool that way. And F&B. This is a really big topic. Actually went to a session 2 weeks ago as well on this, and the whole topic of allergies came up. You're gluten.
Yes, I am.
Right?
People get so excited when I mention it.
Yeah. But imagine that you can go to an event and you actually don't have to just get your peas and gluten stuff you eat, but like it's always limited to the same thing.
It's always a fruit cup at dessert.
Yeah. So there was actually a case where for one of his events, there was a consideration made for folks who were actually allergic to certain items rather than just a preference. And then these items drove the entire menu for the conference as well. So folks like yourself would actually have a decently equitable meal to someone who's having steak and potatoes.
Yeah.
And that was really, really awesome. All right. So I do want to thank everyone for attending, but I also want to thank our partners that have made this happen: Rasiata, Freeman, Conference Direct, Ingo, and Indoor Lab. Without them, this would not be possible to provide you the content that you're going to be receiving this week. And keep in mind that throughout the week, we are also releasing 2 to 3 articles every day based on that content criteria. So that's going to be exciting, and that'll be sent to you in an email as well. And if you have any questions, we're open for questions. So feel free to throw that into the webinar chat. And
give it a few seconds here. See if you got anything coming through. I think you covered a lot of information here. So once everyone receives the recording, please don't hesitate to follow up with either one of us if you're looking for any additional information, and we can certainly align you with the proper partner.
The workflow automation software, that was really just a snapshot of what a typical workflow could be. If there is anything specific that you're looking for from a workflow, shoot me an email at darmish@streampoint.com, and I can definitely help you walk through that workflow side of things as well. Okay, great. For deeper dive on the topics that we've discussed, a lot of the topics that are coming up on Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, we'll dive deeper in some of these components because they are the specialists for those specific categories. And if there is anything that's not covered in those 3 or 4 days, definitely hit me up. I'm a big nerd about this kind of stuff, and I can walk you through some of these deeper dive topics as well.
So you're kind of like a consultant.
Yeah. Hopefully that helps. So definitely please connect with me.
Are you sharing your email now? Your email is incorrect there.
Oh.
There we go.
There we go. Thank you. Any other questions? No problem.
Thank you very much, Darmish. That was a lot of information. I think people are going to be walking away with some stuff to think about for sure.
Yeah.
And you've given the contact information for everyone to follow up with. Again, please don't hesitate to go to the website, eventtechnologyweek.com, and sign up for any of the remainder sessions that will be taking place as of tomorrow right through till Friday, and we'll have in-depth information about each session. So thank you very much.
Thank you. And I'll send out a survey as well.
Okay, and everyone have a wonderful day.
Thank you, everybody. Bye.
Bye.
I lost my cursor. There we go. Yes, we are.
Are we off? Are we off?
Yes.
That's too bad for the video, eh? What
yeah,
the fuck
I don't know. It's okay. Hold on.
Look at the size of your head next to my head.
Oh, man. What happened here?
It just froze, or it timed out, Darmish. Maybe it's not.
Yeah, I wasn't sure what happened to that. That was weird. Oh, you know what? I hope not.
What?
No, that's not it either. Why is the... Hey, come in. How was it?
You're still on.
Oh. On where?
That's what I've been told.